up with Doge after discussing it with Musk. He would go on to define Doge as the Manhattan Project of our time, because we all love what the Manhattan Project created, and said the goal of Doge was to, quote, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, and restructure federal agencies, and also drive out the massive waste and fraud which exists throughout our annual $6.5 trillion of government spending. He repeated the idea that Doge would, quote, provide advice and guidance from outside of government and would make life better for all Americans. Again, his words, advice and guidance outside of government, make life better for all Americans. Also, it was important that Doge would be maximally transparent with the American people, more transparent than anything else in our government.
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the Doge organization.
Okay. Kid should cover his mouth when he coughs, but we have our parameters. Additionally, Elon would later say that the final step would be for Doge to delete itself, like a robot hearing a paradox. And the stated amount they planned to save our government was, as of the start of this year, roughly $2 trillion. According to fundraising emails from Trump, that $2 trillion could then result in every American getting a $5,000 stimulus check on top of whatever future tax savings this would result in. Again, provided they hit that $2 trillion goal. So, 100 days in, after so many firings and chainsaws and winning, did they hit that goal?
Well, thanks to your fantastic leadership, this amazing cabinet, the very talented Doge team, I'm excited to announce that we anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion.
Listen to that excitement in the room. Okay, so $150 billion is, it's about $1,850 billion short. So let's just round up to, I don't know, $2 trillion. It's $2 trillion short, but give them time. They've only fired 216,000 people so far. I mean, some of those people had to come back because get this, it turns out we need people to run stuff, but if they somehow keep this pace, we will hit that $2 trillion mark in like 3.5 years, which is a tad bit over Trump's stated endpoint of July 2026. But it's not like Elon Musk has trouble hitting deadlines or predicting things or anything like that. But to be TMCR, that $2 trillion goal has already been pushed down to $1 trillion, according to Musk. Because goalposts are actually really easy to hit if you just move them. We should just do that all the time.
I mean, I'm reasonably confident that we'll be able to get $1 trillion of waste and fraud out, and that meaning that we'll have a net savings in FY26, which starts in October, obviously, of $1 trillion.
Okay, $1 trillion by FY26, which begins in October of this year. So 4.5 more months means they have to, I guess, eliminate around $200 billion a month, despite only cutting $150 billion in 4 very aggressive and reckless months so far. So you might notice that Musk isn't going to hit that goal either. He moved the goalpost and still missed. Imagine that. Imagine creating this highly curated little game for yourself and still losing at it. That's like buying a social media site and still being unpopular on it. All in all, if Trump was aiming to cut down spending, he has failed. And in fact, the Trump administration is currently spending way more than the Biden administration did at the same point. Also, it should be noted that this $150 billion in cuts is according to Musk himself, as well as the Doge website, which now lists that number as $165 billion under estimated savings. See, the thing about the Doge website is that since it went up, it's actually been less than maximally transparent as Elon had claimed. minimally transparent, you could say. There's actually a journalist named Marcy Wheeler who has tracked all the instances of Doge claiming to cut billions of dollars before quietly reversing that claim. So, for example, the 5 largest cuts in the wall of receipts that Doge posted were all eventually deleted. This included a boasted $8 billion in cuts to immigration and customs enforcement that turned out to actually be 8 million with an M, not a B. And there are, as you probably suspect, so many more instances of this. In February, Doge claimed to cut $232 million from Social Security when the actual amount turned out to be half of 1 million. In March, the site changed their cuts to federal real estate leases from $460 million down to $320 million overnight. In April, they deleted nearly $1 billion in cuts, also overnight. They've also taken credit for eliminating millions for contracts that had already ended, and even double or sometimes triple counted the contracts to make the numbers go higher. After we filmed this episode, the New York Times reported that at least 44 contracts canceled by Doge were revived by the federal agencies they affected, sometimes within hours. But 43 of those contracts, as of when this Times article was published, were still listed on the Doge website as canceled contracts and savings for American taxpayers. And if you think they are at least being open about these mistakes, well, when reporters started to dig through their data and reveal these errors, Doge responded by making that data harder to find. So, not transparent, not really saving anything. But what of the fraud? Oh, we have stuff to say about the fraud, but first, we have stuff to say about these advertisements. You may traditionally know them as ads or advos, so enjoy the vos. Rock the vos. Executive orders. They're almost like laws, except they're not, like, at all. It's more like a memo you sent to your employees. It turns out that President Trump has been signing a whole wheelbarrow full of them, and it can be hard to keep up. But no longer, because of Ground News, which you can also access via the QR code on the screen. That's a sponsor we at The Shody sought out that's both a website and an app. It gathers news from around the world from the entire political spectrum and allows us to compare coverage and verify our information. And on Ground News, you can see that Trump signed an order seeking to require truck drivers to speak English, alongside the biased distribution of coverage and how all the different headlines approach the story. Do any of those titles say that executive orders aren't laws? Who's to say? You can get all this over at ground.news/SMN. With that link, you can save 40% off unlimited access. Ground News will give you the tools you need to stay informed, including a factuality chart and a blind spot feed that shows you stories the media isn't covering. Again, that's ground.news/SMN to get 40% off unlimited access for yourself or someone you know. You know, people! The link is in the description. You've heard of descriptions and links, so the ad is over.
Christmas in, what month is it? May? Well, now I've heard of everything. But it honestly feels like Christmas in the springtime with how busy everything gets. You work all day and get visited by 3 spirits at night. So how in the heck are you supposed to have the time for grocery shopping and meal planning? Well, you can thank old Saint Nick for the gift of Hungry Root, which takes care of the meal planning for you and makes preparing nutritious meals super easy. They've got something for every palate and nutrition plan. Plus, most of their recipes can be made in just 15 minutes or less. I am not exaggerating. This is true. It's so easy and delicious. So you can spend more time hollering out your window, "You there, lad, what day is it?" May 14th, apparently, is the day that is today. Folks, I love me some Hungry Root. You know that. I've been talking about them for months now. So take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. For the life of your subscription, obviously. Just go to hungryroot.com/SMN and use code SMN